Hey, Anthony.
Hey, Ryan.
Hey, do you know what is special about this episode of Moving Right Along, a Muppet Movie Podcast?
Well, I know that it features our pal Becca Petunia.
That's true. That's pretty special. She joined us last week and she's back again this week. That's always cool.
Always a thrill. But I do you further know that George Bailey is dancing over that crack? No, I don't know. What is it?
What?
It's from
I've seen It's a Wonderful Life, but I don't know why you brought that up.
Because you said, "Did you know?" or something, and then it's because so Alfalfa in the movie, Alfalfa is mad because Mary is dancing with George Bailey, and then that other guy tells him that, "Did you know that this floor opens up? And did you further know that George Bailey is dancing right over that crack?" So you said, "Did you know?" And I said Becca was on, and then you wanted me to say something else. So did I further know? Okay.
Great.
What is
That's where your mind goes when I say, "Did you know?"
Yes, absolutely.
Got it. Now I understand everything. No, it turns out that this is, when you count regular episodes only, this is our 250th episode of this podcast.
That is a big milestone. It really is.
Like so many episodes.
I'm kind of amazed that we've had and thank you to the listeners who have heard all of them.
Yeah. I know you're out there. Yeah. I know there's a few of them out there who've stuck with us the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that includes all of the Muppet movies that we've done so far, and our mini season on Muppet Family Christmas, and our various bonus episodes. You'll see that there are a couple more episodes in your feed, but two of those are like little tiny
promos,
like promo episodes, essentially.
Yeah.
One of which Anthony's not even on, so sorry about that, Anthony.
It's okay.
So yeah, wow, 250 episodes. How should we?
It was like I'd never been born. That's what moving right along would be like.
It is. That little podcast episode represents the world in which Anthony was never born.
Yeah.
So how are you going to celebrate 250 episodes?
I'm going to listen to this episode 250 times.
Wow, that sounds great. Let's get to it.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Moving Right Along, a Muppet movie podcast brought to you by toughpigs.com. It's the podcast where we watch Muppet Treasure Island 2 minutes at a time and talk about it a lot. I'm your host, Anthony Strand.
And I'm your other host, Ryan Rowe.
And joining us today, our same guest as last week. She's been here for every movie, and it's always a delight. Guest, who are you?
Well, I'm Becca Petunia, and I'm here to rap in a diminishing returns kind of way. No, I don't have anything.
I truly thought you were going to say, I'm Becca Petunia, and I'm here to say Gonzo has a future in the NBA.
I really thought you were gonna. Anthony, that was the funniest thing. I was literally, could not breathe. I was laughing when I listened to your rap demo that included the lyric, "I'm Anthony Strand, and I'm here to say Gonzo has a future in the NBA."
I mean, he does. That's the thing. It hasn't happened yet.
No, not yet. He doesn't yet.
Well, it happens in the future, so it's appropriate.
Yeah, even
that's right. That's right. There you go. But in these minutes, Mr. Arrow finishes the roll call, and Captain Smollett gets real mad about it. But first, we start with, that's right, lady and gentleman, the long-awaited arrival of Headless Bill.
Headless Bill.
Who didn't say anything because he doesn't have a head. He just salutes. He just does
that's
salute.
Why he didn't
Becca
say
is saluting
anything.
repeatedly right now. Yeah.
Which is pretty funny.
It's pretty good. It's funnier in context of the movie when you don't have a cliffhanger.
Yes, it is very funny. And we should just say, because people were very upset at us when we didn't point out that Bill the Frog in Muppets Take Manhattan has ears. Headless Bill does not have ears. Just want to put it out there. Headless Bill does not have ears.
How did he hear his name being called?
I don't know.
Maybe someone nudged him.
Yeah. No idea.
Maybe Walleye Pike nudged him.
Yeah, that's probably what happened.
What about Israel Hands?
Maybe Israel Hands used his hands to
his
nudge
backwards hands. Yeah.
Yeah. But then The next one is that Sam calls big, fat, ugly, bug-faced, baby-eating O'Brien. And Becca, I know you have thoughts. Go.
Well, do we want to describe what happens?
Okay,
yeah describe what happens.
Okay.
So, and then I'll provide color commentary, and that color is red.
Right. So big, fat, ugly, bug-faced, baby-eating O'Brien is a beautiful woman played by an actress named Jessica Hamilton, who I couldn't find any info about.
No, there's one thing on IMDb that says she was also in a 1994 movie called Desert Winds, but her character there is listed as young Jackie, and the main character named Jackie is played by Heather Graham. So that doesn't sound right to me, because I feel like she would be within a few years of Heather Graham's age.
Yeah.
So it's probably not the same Jessica Hamilton.
Muppet Wiki mentions that she was a model, so it's possible that she did not have many acting roles, especially when you consider that this movie is also not an acting role.
Right. Maybe they were just casting for a model in this, yeah.
Right. Well, and that's, I mean, we're going to get into it, but so it's this woman, Jessica Hamilton, and she says, "I," in a deep voice. And then Sam and Kermit, maybe this is what we're going to talk about too, but I've never known for sure if Sam and Kermit are like startled because of the deep voice or horny because it's a beautiful woman. Like they kind of look like they're like, "Oh, a lady." But
like,
I can't tell if that's
nurse
what it
on
is.
Animaniacs.
Yeah.
So this is the scene that was why I requested to be on this episode,
Right. Sure.
because I figured if someone had to talk about this scene, it had better be me. Because I think about this scene a lot. And what's fascinating to me is I've basically never been able to get a read on this scene.
That moment, you mean?
Yeah, well, not the roll call scene. By this scene, I mean Sam calling her name, us seeing her, us hearing her, and then Kermit and Sam reacting.
Sure.
All I know is this scene makes me, as a trans woman, deeply, deeply uncomfortable. And I want to be clear, I don't feel that this scene is necessarily... I mean, I don't even know if it was supposed to be transphobic or not, because part of the problem that we're going to get into when I start to talk a little bit about this is this joke is so poorly constructed, like Anthony said about not even understanding what the punchline is, that it's tough to even figure out the intent of it. So, I mean, I guess it's kind of like you said, Anthony, there's two ways to interpret the punchline to this joke, which is either Sam and Kermit are shocked that she is beautiful and are like ogling her, which I don't feel great about, but admittedly that's pretty par for the course.
We have seen that in previous Muppet productions, yes.
Correct. But in that case, if that's true, then her voice is irrelevant. It's like, well, then why did you make that choice? So then if you assume that the voice isn't irrelevant, then you have to read it as, we are shocked that this, conventionally attractive woman has a deep voice. And as... look, I'm not here to call myself conventionally attractive. I don't have the self-esteem to do that. But as a woman who has a deep voice and has a lot of weird baggage about my deep voice, I find it to be a little uncomfortable, right? Like, is the joke, it is astonishing that someone can be both beautiful and have a deep voice? Is the joke that her name is bug-faced baby-eating O'Brien? Because we didn't even mention how that is part of the joke. There's so many levels. Yeah. There's so many levels, and it isn't even clear what the joke is. And maybe I've heard some people who are like, oh, this is so progressive because they're shocked that there could be, they need to learn that there's a woman who could have this name. And I don't get that.
I think if that were the case, then it would just be her voice, right?
Right. Yeah.
And one of the things too is, I'm going to get into other things, and I wrote like a page of notes that I'm trying to get through quick. Don't worry. But I showed this scene to my spouse, friend of the show. Well, not friend of this show, but friend of my show, Lee. And Lee is also trans. And I was like, is this transphobic? And we were sitting there for like 20 minutes being like, well, it could be.
Sure.
But is it? Is it or is it not? And then, eventually, I said, like, Lee's never seen this movie before. And that's why Lee leads a better life than I do. But I'm sorry, JD. But I said, Lee, part of the problem is this character never appears again. This is the only character in the roll call we don't see later.
Is that real?
That's the thing.
Oh.
Or Headless Bill, I'm not sure if he... I
maybe.
can't remember off the top of my head if he shows up later.
But I do think it would be funnier if she was just a character. Like, I think this moment would be more acceptable if she was just one of the pirates from here on out.
Well, but then I'd have time to get a read on her.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, to get a read on what her bit is.
Yeah.
And what her joke is.
That's a good point. So, I mean, it is... She appears and then we never see her again. That happens a lot in spoof movies, like Naked Gun, Top Secret, which we've mentioned on the show before. But it makes it... I lost my train of thought there. Sorry, continue.
I mean, it's almost like the myth, yeth gag from the Muppet movie, but it isn't.
So here's a question then, Becca. Would you prefer this moment if Big Fat Ugly Bug-Faced Baby Eating O'Brien was Carol Kane?
Well, yes, because Carol Kane is a national treasure.
Right, that's the thing, yeah.
And if we assume that part of the joke is that when you hear the name Big Fat Ugly Bug-Faced Baby Eating O'Brien, the part of the joke is then cutting to a person who you would not expect to have that name. That still works with Carol Kane.
Yeah, and
correct.
Yes, and especially because you wouldn't dub the voice.
Right.
She would just talk like herself, and she would say "aye, aye," and be like, "Hey, everybody, it's Carol Kane. She's back."
But it's very muddled, and one of the things is like, there's a lot of queer media that explores the sort of blurred lines between masculinity and femininity to great effect. And I'm blanking on examples off the top of my head, but Lord knows if I, message me on the Discord and I can give you 20. Sure. And one of the things about it is in most, drag in general is playing with this idea. Yeah. And I'm on Danny Horn's podcast talking about that for like an hour and a half. Go check that out. Fantastic Miss Piggy podcast, episode 4. Also talking about my issues with voice. But it's like that stuff is always done very purposefully and with intent. And the intent is to say something about masculinity and femininity and what those two adjectives even mean in our society. This joke clearly isn't made with intent, because if it was made with intent, we'd be able to dissect it after talking about it for 15 minutes. Right. The fact that I still don't know what the joke is after writing all of this shows me it's not made with intent. And you have this throughout the film, honestly. There's a number of these things where they kind of like blur gender lines, where in Sailing for Adventure, Mud Bunny sings Manly Men Are We in a falsetto. Mm-hmm. And then Angel Marie, who we're going to meet in a second, also sings in a falsetto later in the movie. And Blind Pew calls Jim Hawkins a girl twice. Right. And it's like, these things are all things that can be funny. And like watching the movie, like legitimately, I'm not going to be like, oh, this crazy woke police is saying that jokes can't be funny or whatever. I think it's funny when Mudwell the Mud Bunny says, "Manly men are we," in a falsetto, because that has a clear purpose and intent. And it's highlighting how silly it is that these pirates are doing a Muppet Show style number.
They're doing it in the first place.
Pirates, yes. But that joke feels like it makes sense to me. I'm also equally confused by Angel Marie, and we'll get to that in a second, because Angel Marie feels like he or she, unclear,
right,
is supposed to be a...
For the record, my children consistently refer to Angel Marie as a girl. When they...
Okay.
Because they love Cabin Fever, and they're always like, she's funny, that girl's funny.
Yeah. She feels like she's supposed to be a foil to bug-faced baby-eating O'Brien, but even that as a foil doesn't work because she also has a deep man's voice. You'd think that if you were gonna set this up as a foil and you were gonna construct this joke in a way that makes sense to me, Angel Marie should have a falsetto the whole time. Angel Marie should have like a sultry, sexy voice. Right. Can I say sexy on Moving Right Along?
Yes, you can.
And Angel Marie doesn't. So you're not even making this parallel clear. And it all confuses me. And when a joke like this happens and doesn't feel like I understand how this is reflecting on gender, the only thing that I can come down to and why this scene, this moment still like deeply upsets me watching this movie is that the joke has to involve that a beautiful woman can have a deep voice. And that at least has to be part of the joke. Right. And the joke is that that's funny. And that makes me feel uncomfortable and makes me feel excluded from Muppet Treasure Island.
Sure.
And maybe that wasn't something I was thinking about when I was younger. I've delineated my stories about being trans and not realizing I was trans until I was much older than most people. But the fact is that certainly it makes it a little difficult for me to watch this movie now, seeing this scene. And I'll tell you, to end my talk about, like, what does this joke mean, I think, it's interesting, and who knows how much communication there even was, and ad-libbing, and the 90s are different, and I know all of these things, and the early 2000s are different. But, I'm clicking around Muppet Wiki as I'm trying to write this page-long, treatise or whatever, my 95 theses on does bug-faced baby Benson make sense? And the answer, you go on Muppet Wiki and you look up big, fat, ugly, bug-faced baby-eating O'Brien, and they just describe the scene because there's nothing else to describe.
Right, there's no other element to the character.
Beefub Bethu it's the abbreviation I came up with, is a deep-voiced yet beautiful pirate. But it does mention, and Ryan, you might know this because I know you've been listening to the DVD commentary, that in the DVD commentary for this scene, Rizzo asks, and Muppet Wiki chronicles this, Rizzo asks, what was up with her? And Gonzo replies, don't ask, don't tell. And that joke I do not like at all.
Right. No,
let me tell you,
that's almost worse than the joke in the movie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. And for those of you who, I don't know, do I have to get into don't ask, don't tell what that was?
Maybe a quick summary.
It was a government policy that basically was like, if you were gay, it was okay, but you couldn't talk about it.
In the military, primarily.
In the military.
Specifically referring to the military, right. Yes.
Which was a policy change from gay people are not allowed in the military.
Correct.
Which is before 1994.
Correct. Thank you.
Yeah.
Which, yeah,
I'm not saying it. Don't ask, don't
tell. No.
Anthony, was where we should have landed.
Oh no. I'm just like, it's crazy to hear 1994. That wasn't that long ago.
Oh no, it wasn't. It was 2 years before the movie.
Yeah.
Muppet Treasure Island.
Yeah, and it became a punchline. It was absolutely...
Well, that's what I was about to say is, like, Anthony's right that it refers to the military, but it was something that you'd hear people saying in other spheres of life as well.
Right.
Using that phrase to describe their relationship with friends and family members and things like that. And, like, is this a queer-phobic, transphobic, whatever joke? Certainly the don't ask, don't tell bit is, but that's not in the movie.
Right.
But is this queer-phobic, transphobic, whatever? I guess we can't say, but I can say that the fact that I have to talk about this for 30 minutes or whatever is why I'm so uncomfortable.
Right, of course.
If it is, and watching the movie now, it sure seems like it is. I think it's more out of ignorance than malice. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't, point a spotlight at it and say this is not funny.
Like Anthony said about the 1994 thing, things have changed so rapidly, even during my lifetime. And even during my lifetime as an out queer person, which has really only been about 4 years at this point. Even during that period, things have changed so rapidly that it's tough to figure out intent, especially when looking at an older piece of media. And yes, this piece of media is not even that old. It was during my lifetime.
Yeah.
But, like, I saw this movie in theaters. We'll get to that when we get to our final questions. But, like, it's tough to voice intent, but it's easy for me to describe how it makes me feel now. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Right. Because there's a different, it's one thing to hold a 28-year-old piece of media up to today's standards. But I don't think that's even what you're doing. It's a movie that we're watching and talking about right now. So that's all we can do.
Right.
And I can tell you, to hold it up to 28 years ago standards, it's not a well-constructed joke.
Correct.
Because there's like 3 different off-ramps for a punchline.
I knew that you would be making good points about this, quote unquote joke, but you've made points that I didn't even realize about it, like about just how confused it is, given how many parts of it there are that don't even really come together in a coherent way.
And then they muddle it even further when Angel Marie has the same voice.
And that's a good segue, I think, to move on.
Yes.
Because we really can't spend all night. This has been a great conversation. Honestly,
no.
Thanks for.
I know. I'm
thanks.
sorry.
No. Hey, you. Sorry. This was the whole point.
It's why.
Yeah.
This is why you invited me on for this one, because I said I had a lot to say and I wasn't lying.
Right. As I may have said, my notes literally say, "Big fat ugly bug faced baby eating O'Brien." Becca, go.
Yep.
But so then the next roll call joke is Angel Marie. As we mentioned, this is a monster with like braided hair, green monster who says "I."
He says it in a weird way, though. Angel Marie says "I," as if it's 2 separate words rather than "I." That's always seems strange to me.
So I'll say this about Angel Marie. I love this puppet.
Yeah.
I think Angel Marie is a super cool looking monster.
You know who loves Angel Marie?
Who?
Our friend Jared Fairclough. Other than Mr. Curly Twirly, which...
Oh, yeah, he talked about that when he was here last time.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah, no. It's like, he says that Angel Marie is like his favorite puppet.
Yeah, he talked about how he almost got a picture with Angel Marie, but then didn't.
And Angel Marie is, again, I love, like, weird monsters. She's fun, she or he, I'm going to keep using she. She's fun and like, well, like, so much detail and like so interesting and so many weird shapes. I was trying to draw her earlier and there's like 6 different, like, so many different, like, blobby ovals all pieced together. I think it's a great puppet. I just wish she had the falsetto the whole time.
Well,
you know what I really wish,
and I've said this about at least one other character in this movie already, but I wish Louise Gold was playing her.
Yes.
You know? Like, it's very easy to imagine her doing, like, her basically she sounds like Annie Sue or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
Or, again, like, I think of, and because she's, like, my favorite character, and briefly in this movie, not briefly in this movie, who knows? But, like, I think about, like, Aretha from Fraggle Rock in her one speaking scene, but, like, you could just give an ugly character a woman's voice and it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine, yeah. There's I can't remember if I already talked about Muppets on Wheels, things that go.
This was a direct-to-video, like, preschool kid.
I had things that fly, the sequel as a child, and I can still sing every song from Things That Fly.
So Muppets on Wheels has a long sequence set on a construction site, and the foreman of the construction site is Bertha, a monster played by Julianne Boucher. And just like a regular looking, like, Sesame-ish monster that could have been assigned to anyone.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing female coded about
that should really happen more often.
Yeah, and it's Julianne, and it's so cool, and she leads this rap called Jackhammer Rap, and I showed it to all my kindergarten classes recently, and they loved it. They ate it up.
I mean, kindergartners love jackhammers.
It's true.
Any construction, like excavators, steamrollers, they love it all.
Yeah. It's true. That's why I was like, I gotta show them the Jackhammer Rap from Muppets on Wheels.
Yeah, you do.
But anyways, that Angel Marie is actually the last person in the roll call. So then Kermit,
but that isn't even all the pirates.
Yeah.
And if I was writing this movie, I would have had them list all 75 pirates.
There are other, humans and Muppets.
New Zealand, the dodo bird from the Anne Murray episode of the Muppet Show.
They didn't call Calico.
Jacques LaRoche, Bagoonie, Calico, Spotted Dick.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Mudwell. No, continue.
Yeah, no, there's a lot. It's great. That's just the whole movie is just naming every puppet.
Yeah, that would be an hour.
That's Becca's ideal version of Muppet Treasure Island.
And they all say "I."
Then I get to see all the puppets.
Way. Yeah. But then Kermit kind of nods nervously and just goes like,
Yeah, he's trying not to let the crew see how unnerved he is.
Yeah, I like that. It's a very, like, we've talked about Steve Whitmire's Kermit being a different character from Jim's Kermit.
Yeah.
And this is a really good Steve Whitmire Kermit moment, where he's, like, nervously trying to figure out how to avoid.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't think Jim would have played that like that at all, but it's very funny.
No, you're right.
Well, it's a meeker Kermit,
right?
Still,
yeah.
But this is, I think, using the meeker Kermit to an actual funny conclusion,
right? Because
where it's like Kermit wants to be meek, like you see Kermit kind of wrestling with 70s Kermit and 90s Kermit at the same time.
I think that's what I mean? Right.
Like,
yeah.
And when they go into the cabin, if I can,
that's just what happens. He says, "Gentlemen, can I see you in my cabin?" And
there is a quick moment you see Bunsen react, like he's very excited to be invited.
Yeah,
like,
Bunsen is so excited.
He considers it's an honor to be invited to the captain's cabin.
Yeah. So, anyways, we cut inside where Kermit is already sitting at his desk, and Becca, what happens?
I was just going to say, this might be the only Steve Whitmire as Kermit freak out.
I wrote an article on Tough Pigs years ago, and then I actually wrote it again with more video clips.
I guess I wish I'd never been born.
I feel like there was at least one more.
Yeah, I wish I'd never been born, definitely.
Oh, yeah, that was the other one, I think, that I had,
Yeah.
But it certainly is very rare, and that goes to what I'm saying about this meeker Kermit. Like,
whereas on the Muppet Show, he was yelling at people a lot.
He did it all the time.
And Sesame.
He yells at Grover.
Right.
Those Kermit and Grover sketches are all him yelling at Grover.
Yes.
I have a picture right here of him telling Cookie Monster that he's going to tell Cookie Monster's mother that no one should be friends with Cookie Monster anymore.
Yeah. He's very mean, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
I don't think that Steve is as good at the this rage
No,
scene.
and some of
as,
it
like,
is just
Jim
because
would
Kermit
do.
had been watered down by this time.
Right. He's a mascot.
Yeah.
But so then he goes inside and he yells, "Who hired this crew? This is undoubtedly the seediest bunch of cutthroats, villains, and scoundrels I have ever seen." And then, well...
So who hired him?
Turns out it was Mr. Bimbo, because everyone looks over at our old pal, young Squire, and he points at his finger. And gang, they hold on this so long because they don't want us to miss anything. It is as though we are watching the contract scene from A Night at the Opera. The hold for laughter is the same.
I do like the way this is shot. It cuts from Kermit flailing to everyone, like spanning the length of the table, with Fozzie at the very end of the table. They all turn and look at him, and then he points at his finger. I like the way it's shot and timed up to that point, but then... Yeah.
It almost would be funnier if this was the first and only time Mr. Bimbo was mentioned.
Oh.
Because it's staged almost like everyone is pointing at Fozzie, and Fozzie has no one to point at. So he points at his finger and is like, I don't know,
Fozzie's
Mr. Bimbo?
Just trying to find a scapegoat. You know?
Yes.
I will give you that. Right. If this had been the only time we heard about Mr. Bimbo in the whole movie, that would have been a funny joke.
Yes, I agree. Like, now that you've said it, yeah. Wow.
Because then it wouldn't be Fozzie as stupid and crazy. It would just be Fozzie as desperately trying to get out of this situation.
Correct.
Yeah.
Which is so funny because, like, you know, the joke is he's like, Mr. Bimbo, you know, told me to hire this crew, you know, at the advice of Long John Silver.
Yes, our excellent
But,
cook.
like, again, going back to, and this is going to be a recurring, like, it already is a recurring theme on your podcast. And you know what? It's not going to stop being a recurring theme on your podcast. Rewriting this movie as if Mr. Bimbo wasn't a part of the movie. Fozzie's whole thing on The Muppet Show was messing up tasks. I mean, he had many things on The Muppet Show, but one of his whole things was messing up tasks backstage because he was so eager to please and wanted to seem competent,
yes, that's where it comes
and
from.
Well-liked. Like the Harry Belafonte episode where he's writing the script. Yeah. Right? There is no reason that the joke just couldn't be Fozzie got tricked into hiring pirates because he was trying to find the best crew, and like Long John Silver was like smooth talked him into it.
Yeah, you can have a
you know
naive
what I mean? Like,
Fozzie without him being the world's biggest idiot like this.
Right. Yeah, you're right. It would actually make perfect sense for Fozzie to just be tricked into it. Huh. Man, this movie.
Give us the Bimbo free cut. That's what...
Well, I'll tell you. Again, I got a CD-ROM drive, so I can right here. I got a CD-ROM.
Oh yeah, we've heard Mr.
Bimbo's
Bimbo's not in the CD-ROM game.
Mr. Bimbo is not in the CD-ROM game, and we're going to experience it together.
Interesting. Can't wait. But yeah. So, anyways, Kermit questions, "Your finger hired the crew," and Fozzie says, "No, that's silly. The man who lives in my finger hired the crew." And
because Kermit wasn't there earlier when Mr. Bimbo was introduced, so Kermit needs this exposition.
Kermit needs.
Thank you for explaining that. Thanks for that exposition, Ryan.
Yep. And then, as he said, he relied heavily on the advice of our excellent cook, Long John Silver. But then Kermit the Frog, Kermit the Frog, usually a guy who treats people with respect, but not Captain Abraham Smollett. Because this clown, this elitist, this absolute pompous jerk says a cook and a guy who lives in a bear's finger as though those are both equally bad.
Yeah,
Captain
as if a
Smollett
cook is inherently somehow lower.
Yeah,
you're right. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, this plebeian, the cook. We let him hire the crew. We trust him to cook our meals, but we don't trust him to... Kermit the Frog. Anyways... then,
I mean, but it is kind of stupid to start with the cook and then work your way to the rest of the crew.
That's true. That is true.
Or at least,
but as
the way it's normally done.
As we'll see, that's basically what happens in the book. So your favorite book, Becca, of Treasure Island. And,
oh boy.
But anyways, then Kermit shakes his head and says, I'm starting to worry about this voyage. But before we can dwell on that, he has to move on to the next plot point. So he asks Jim to give him the treasure map for safekeeping. And Jim says, I'll be careful with it, sir, and puts it in his vest. Here's my thing about this. If the captain wasn't Kermit, this would feel like a sign that he's not to be trusted.
Oh, if he's like, just give me the map. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you know?
Well, it almost then makes Jim, like, you saying that now makes me feel like, oh yeah, it makes sense that Jim keeps the map. But in the movie, you're like, just give him the map. He's Kermit.
Yeah, right.
The worst thing he's going to do is yell at Grover.
Well, actually, so this is one thing I have from the June 1st, 1994 draft of the screenplay. In the draft, Jim actually does give Captain Smollett the map right here in this scene. So I think maybe it happens later because they sort of start to suspect more and more that the crew can't be trusted, and maybe that's why they did it that way. But yeah, it does feel a little bit more intuitive for him to just give Kermit the Frog the map.
Yeah, he's Kermit the Frog. But then they are interrupted because Long John Silver knocks on the door, and we go into the final part of this sequence. He rolls in a cart holding a bit of a treat for you. 'Tis my very own best brandy.
Yeah.
Laid down by the brothers of Buckfast Abbey, vintage 1737. Now, did either of you look up Buckfast Abbey?
Oh, no, I didn't.
I should have.
Buckfast Abbey.
I was too buck slow.
There you go. Buckfast Abbey is a real Benedictine monastery in Devon, England. Famous not for brandy, but for making wine and honey. And I was looking on their website, and you cannot special order their wine or honey, but you can special order like other bee byproducts.
Okay.
And you can also buy, like shirts or whatever on their website, but you can buy tickets to tour their beekeeping facility.
Oh, that's
purchase
cool.
Those on their website. So if you're a big Muppet Treasure Island head and you want to see where Long John's brandy was made,
he got the brandy, yeah,
you can go.
And where was that again?
Buckfast Abbey in Devon, England.
Devon, England. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So next time you're in town,
yeah, I'll keep it in mind.
Look it up. Yeah. So Long John then pours some brandy to toast a prosperous voyage. And this is where Fozzie really feels like Fozzie to me, more than just about anywhere else in the movie.
Yeah.
Because Fozzie says, "Oh, spiffy."
Yes, he's all about this brandy.
Yeah, and he grabs the bottle and some empty glasses.
This was funny. I like this scene. I think the delivery from Fozzie could have been, not to criticize Frank, but I feel like it's a little dumb for Fozzie. But I think it's really funny. It evokes you put enough sugar in this and it tastes just like ginger ale to me.
Yeah.
It's just getting extremely... yeah.
Right. And I think that they make it look extremely easy for him to pick up the bottle of brandy and several cups.
I was thinking about that, yeah.
Yeah. And it probably wasn't that easy because it's two different people doing those two things and looking at a monitor while doing it.
Wow.
But, yeah, right? But then Captain Smollett doesn't want any part of this. He says, "I'm sorry, Mr. Silver, but I'm not going to allow drinking on this voyage." And then Fozzie, eager to please, as we said, this is real Muppet Show Fozzie stuff. He goes, "Oh, well, rules are rules," and pours a glass of brandy out the window.
Yes.
Long John disagrees. 'Tis a tradition for officers to toast to the success of a long voyage. And then Fozzie again starts pouring and says, "Very true."
And now Bunsen and Beaker are very excited too.
But I like this because Fozzie is such a people pleaser.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like this is shtick that makes sense and is based on a real way that people act. Like people pleasers are a real thing. Mr. Bimbos are not.
Mr. Bimbo stinks. You want to know my opinion?
Is that your opinion?
I do want to know your opinion. That's why I'm listening to this podcast.
I do feel bad I feel like every episode I'm like writing down something else about how much I hate Mr. Bimbo. But the movie keeps throwing it at me too. Like that's the thing. If they just did it once, I wouldn't talk about it over and over, you know? But he's good here. Fozzie's
throwing Mr. Bimbo at you.
Yeah. Mr. Bimbo is throwing the brandy out the window here. They don't even
see it. It's true. It's in that hand,
yeah. But now Kermit, this is where Kermit really puts his foot down. Puts his flipper down, if you will.
Oh, yeah.
If you're a Jim Lewis enthusiast.
Yeah.
He says, no, we must set an example for this questionable crew. There will be no consumption of alcohol of any kind. Fozzie then tosses the drink out the window again.
Okay, but here's the thing. If he's worried about the crew and what they might do and if they might be, bad, it's not going to help if he forbids them from having a good time and drinking alcohol. Like, they're only going to hate him more.
Right.
What are they going to drink, guys? What are they going to drink if not alcohol? And
on a ship in the middle of the ocean.
Correct. They can't drink water.
Right.
Yeah.
Not a drop to drink.
Right. So you're right. He should have just let him do it. Kermit, what are you doing? Kermit, how dare you? Okay. Then we hear Long John say, "Oh, sir," and that's the end. So we do not get the punchline of this scene either. just like Headless Bill.
Wow.
So that's the end. So any other thoughts about these 2 minutes before we close, Becca?
I don't know. Do we have time for another, 75 minutes on Big Face Bug, Big Bug, Big Bad Beetleborgs?
3 typical average kids inside a haunted mansion. Okay. Anyways.
Yep.
Love it. That guy looks
Imagine if the Funky Flabber was in this movie.
You mean the Jay Leno Liberace ghost? Call him by his proper name. He's a ghost who looks like Jay Leno dressed as Liberace. Well, Ryan,
that is true.
There's a character.
Imagine three typical average kids inside a haunted mansion.
Okay.
And what if just by chance they freed a ghost?
Oh,
but hey, look now, there's superheroes armed with superpowers taken from a comic strip.
And now they're Beetleborgs.
Oh, okay. Got it. Now I understand everything.
You're keeping this in.
Yes, of course.
All right. I have no other thoughts on these 2 minutes.
All right, good. Ryan, what else?
Just 2 other very, very quick things from the draft, the June 1st draft. When Captain Smollett asks Jim for the map, Rizzo asks if they can have a receipt. I mean,
that's funny.
It's mildly amusing. And then
that's a better word to describe
Long
it.
John brings in cognac rather than brandy. I don't know why they would change that. Maybe they somehow realized that sailors were more likely to drink brandy than cognac in those days.
But that is brandy. Cognac is brandy.
Oh, is it?
It's a subspecies of brandy.
Well, that shows what I know. I never drink anything, so okay.
Just like the crew of the Hispaniola.
Yeah.
Ryan, you have to drink. Like, you can't drink nothing, like water.
Yeah, you got to consume fluids, Ryan.
I drink diet green tea mango flavor.
That's good, I guess. I don't know how to react to that. So
it is good.
Anyways, I have a couple of things here from the strange case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Oh, good.
So in the book, in Treasure Island, Squire Trelawney does in fact hire the crew with a lot of input from Long John Silver. So that's basically accurate.
Okay.
Captain Smollett's opinion of the crew is low. At one point he says, "I don't like them, sir, and I think I should have had the choosing of my own hands." So, not Israel hands.
As opposed to Israel's hands.
And speaking of him, speaking of Mr. Hands, he loves brandy in the book. This is mentioned multiple times. At one point, he is referred to as that brandy-faced rascal Israel Hands. So there's no like scene where they chuck brandy out the window and all that, but sure. it is mentioned many times.
Does Smollett get the map, or does Jim keep the map, or is that not even addressed?
Smollett actually doesn't want to know where the map is.
Oh.
He doesn't. Here's what he says: Well, gentlemen, continued the captain, I don't know who has this map, but I make it a point. It shall be kept secret even from me and Mr. Arrow. Otherwise, I would ask you to let me resign.
That's interesting.
He doesn't want to know. He doesn't, yeah.
Because then how do they know where they're going? I guess they know where the island is that they're trying to
they know,
get.
they know where the island is.
Yeah.
The map is for once you're on the island.
Right.
Okay.
All right, so that is, now we're moving on to our most beloved segment. Becca, what's your history with this movie?
Wow, our most beloved segment is Becca's history with this movie.
Yes.
So I'll make this quick. I saw this movie, or quick by my standards. So I saw this movie when it came out in theaters. I would have been 5 years old in 1996. This is 96, right?
That's right. February, though.
Okay, so I would have been 4 years old. But I definitely saw it in theaters, and the only thing I remember from seeing it in theaters is I was very excited when the goat from We Are All Earthlings showed up in Cabin Fever. I was rewatching Cabin Fever today to prepare for it, and I was like, oh yeah, there's the goat. We Live on the Mountains was his line in We Are All Earthlings.
That's a good song from Sesame Street.
Very good.
So, I watch this movie occasionally, even still today. I don't watch it every Christmas.
Sure.
What's the second question again?
The second question is where, and I think we know the answer to this, where do you rank it among the Muppet movies?
So I am not a defender of this movie. I'm trying to decide. I feel like it may not be dead last. I'm trying to figure out if M11, the Jason Segel movie, is lower than it for me. There's different reasons. That movie, I have fonder memories of it as like, it's the Muppets' big comeback, and I'm, big on Muppet Tumblr when this comes out, and I love talking to everybody on Muppet Tumblr about it. But like, this movie has, more of the original performers and fun costumes. So it's certainly near the bottom. Whether it's 7th or 8th, kind of depends on my mood. I think I'm feeling soft on it right now, and I'll say 7th. But that's about as soft as I'll get.
Sure. All right. Great. Thank you so much. And so that, wait, Ryan, I already asked you if you had other stuff.
Yeah. That was it.
Yes, so that brings us down to the end, and we will be back next week with another episode of Moving Right Along. Until then, listener, you can check out Tough Pigs on the internet. We're on various social media. You can become a patron of ours on Patreon. You can visit our TeePublic store. We mentioned we have some new designs up there.
Yeah.
Our guest earlier this season, Megan Barbeau, I think designed most of the new ones.
Oh, yes, most of them, yes. Yeah.
Which
Ocean Breeze Soap, Happiness Hotel. Yeah, some great ones.
The Fix-It Shop. Did you do that one?
Yeah, I think so.
That, I got to get one of those. That looks so awesome. But you can check us out there. You can email us at movinrightalong@toughpigs.com to tell us which of the shirts you purchased and are satisfied with. You can follow Ryan on Blue Sky at me, Ryan Rowe, and you can follow me on Blue Sky at Durwood Clapper. You can follow Ryan on Letterboxd at Movies Are Neat. You can follow me on Letterboxd at Zeppo Marxist. And Becca, once again, where can our listeners find you on the line?
Well, the best place is the Tough Pigs Discord. I'm one of the main moderators there, and I'm there way too much. So if you want to get my attention, that's a great way to do it. But I guess I'm also on other social media, on Twitter at Uncle Petunio, and on every other social media platform at Tall Girl Petunia. And you can find me in your heart wherever you find love.
Okay, awesome.
I don't know. I'm losing this.
Yeah, there you go. And thank you, as always, to Morgan Davy for designing our logo. Another t-shirt that you can purchase on our TeePublic store. And you can also give us a positive review that you've been meaning to do. And you can, every pirate on the roll call, every time you see one of them, tell them to listen to Moving Right Along, because they're going to love it. And join us.
The problem is Headless Bill has no ears. How's he going to listen? Where's he going to put his headphones?
That's true. But maybe next week we'll find out how Headless Bill can tune in. See you then. Goodbye.
Goodbye.